Thank you. I will start with an introduction to just walk you through who we are, what we do, and what we propose this Climate Accelerator to look and feel like. Then we're going to bring in Cannon, who is a founder of a startup that recently came through our latest Impact Accelerator, which is a very similar model. So he's going to be able to give you some insights as to what it's like to go through the program from that perspective. My colleague Andrew Brisbane is here with me today as well, so he will talk a little to you a little later on. And then I would love to open it up for any questions and a general discussion or anything that might be on your mind. So, to kick off, my name's Emma Mee. I'm a program manager at Alio. I've been working with the organisation for nearly 4 years now. And Alio is actually a charity. We get a lot of our funding through grants and a number of other business activities. I'll cover those in just a minute, but we are all about working with small businesses that are trying to create a positive impact in the world. We define that as working with those that are focusing on people, planet, or profit. And they are typically focused on making the world a better place for all of us. From the people side, it could be anything like small social enterprises, but all the way up, of course, I'm personally based in Cambridge. That can involve some really heavy hitting med tech, biotech kind of ventures that we're working with closely. From the planet side, naturally, it's issues such as climate change and environmental solutions. And we're also working with a lot of small businesses that are actually trying to improve the local environment and the local communities that they work with. Particularly down in East London and in Peterborough, where small businesses have such a crucial role to play, both on the high street and among people's lives in those areas. So over the years, we've been running support programs just like this one to help startups just like you. We've worked with well over 2,000 ventures in total. Our current range of programs that we're busy deploying left, right and centre across all 3 sites work out to be looking after about 100 founders or ventures a year. So we've got quite a nice big turnover going on now. And 2 of the things that we're very keen on focusing on based on our grant funding that enables us to do this for free for you is about creating jobs and creating new products and services. So we do always register the number of jobs that are created in the ventures. That totals over 5,000 now. But the success factor of some of those ventures going forward to raise investment funding, for example, totals over 700 million. I think we're perhaps over that total now as well. So some of the success factors from the founder's perspective that you'll be familiar with seeing with other accelerator programs as to how they rate themselves. So alongside the venture support programs, we do run physical future business centres. We have one in Peterborough and another in Cambridge, a small office space in Cambridge, and we have a setup going on in East London that's been going for a few years as well. And these are all spaces that are homes to impact ventures from across that broad scale. We have easy in, easy out office spaces, we have co-working spaces, meeting rooms and everything else you'd expect for startups in that you need that at that stage of their growth. And naturally, some of the rent that those ventures ultimately pay for us does also support some of our work in this space. We also have a charitable bond, what I like to call the dark arts, a financial product that works with the stock brokerage markets down in London. I don't know too much about that, but it also supports some of our work and has some greater impact metrics there too. But mainly the small team that I'm working with Andrew, the 6 of us are looking at venture support. So we spend a lot of time face to face with founders just like you who are trying to build businesses that improve the world that we know. So this is the Climate Accelerator. This is brand new. This is in partnership with the EIT Climate Kick team. Now, if you're familiar with the EIT Kicks, they are based in Europe. They have completely international outreach. And over the many years, they've run their own accelerator programs to a very high standard. across the world. And the Climate Kit team particularly has grown year on year. Now, the team there, based in Amsterdam, felt that the challenge that we're facing with climate change is so significant and so interconnected that they could no longer operate in their own silos of their accelerator programs and activities. So what they have done recently is open this up to be very open source. And they invited a few select partners to come on board to actually help them deliver these programs in different regions and basically build a much bigger international community of solutions. So they bring an enormous amount of expertise and resources to the party. They also have great connections across the world with regards to mentors who potentially help founders expand internationally to other accelerator programs. So that network of other people to help and support your business if you wanted to work further afield is already established there too. And of course, they have a really rich body of investors that have been following them for years. So we're really lucky that we've managed to join forces with the EIT Climate Kit this year. We are the first UK-based organisation to do so. I dare say there will be more, certainly further afield in the north and the west of the country. But we are focused on deploying these resources and opening this programme up to the east of England, where Alio is traditionally strong and where we've always maintained a good presence. So we're really pleased to be able to bring a strong brand like this to the market. This is us. This is who we are. Hi. Andrew is joining us. Andrew, if you can give a wave or make a noise so you pop onto people's screens.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you. We also have Catherine and Livia who are with us as well. Now, we are the four that are going to be closely involved in running the Climate Accelerator. So I am going to be your first port of call throughout the whole process, through the applications, all the way through to actually getting enrolled on the programme, hopefully. And I will be coordinating things at this end throughout the 6 months of the programme starting next year. Catherine will be supporting me and will be running a lot of the one-to-ones directly with some of the ventures. Livia is in general support in terms of admin, but she will be in contact with you regarding a lot of the reporting, sharing some of the resources and just being on hand to be super helpful. And Andrew is our head of enterprise programs. He's looking after a lot of other programs alongside this one, but I do happen to know that he's particularly excited about this one as well. So we will be bringing him in to deliver some sessions, to have some one-to-ones with you, and to generally bring his experience to the table. In terms of background, we cover a range of experiences and things. My background myself, I spent 20 years ago, I started working in sustainability with big business within Cambridge University. That's an organisation called the Institute for Sustainability Leadership, if anybody's familiar with it. And for 12 years, I was working in climate change regulation and policy, supporting big businesses, all of the big blue chips, you know, the Unilevers of this world, to actually lobby for greater regulation in climate change. Andrew has got a background in, he's typically American, he comes from that neck of the woods over the pond, and he has got a very strong financial background and was also COO of a startup, an edtech startup recently. So he's got that really strong perspective of having been there and done that and gone through this process before you all had to worry about it. Catherine joins us from the Philippines. She's got a lot of international cooperation sort of experience in terms of understanding a lot of governance issues and a financial background herself as well. So she'll also be pulled in to look at your finance and projections and things. And Livia is also a co-founder of her own startup. We're actually going to be leaning on Livia's experience to do with migratory issues being a key climate change factor. And she'll be bringing some of those talking points to the room and throughout the sessions. So the program is for, who are we looking for? We support early stage startups, but we do typically expect them to have some sort of traction. They needed to be have proven their worth in their market one way or another. Sometimes that means they're revenue generating, sometimes they aren't yet, but they can at least demonstrate that what they're onto is a really good idea and there seems to be a market interest in it. As I mentioned, we are looking for those in and around the east of England. We will be taking some ventures from outside of that scope, particularly around our East London markets as well. Those that count towards our grant funding are East of England based, but we will be broadening that out to support other ventures where we feel as though we can and it's appropriate to do so. But typically we want everybody to be fairly localised, because we do intend to run quite a few of these sessions in person throughout the programme as well as online. So there is a sense that we just want that the actual logistics to work for you and it not to be a significant cost to visit us. We're looking for pre-seed or seed startups that demonstrate traction, as I say, and we're focusing entirely on climate tech is the phrase that is used and bandied about. I think you'll all appreciate that this being a very new field, everything's having different labels and different names put on it all the time, and we don't want to be too focused on what you might consider that you're doing. Effectively, we're looking for solutions to the crisis that we're all facing. So it could be mitigation efforts to reduce carbon emissions, energy efficiency, or clean technologies that work in that space. It could also be adaptation efforts. We are going to need a huge amount of climate adaptation rolled out across the country and internationally to help people deal with some of the built-in effects that we're going to be facing in climate change. I'm particularly interested for any new ventures out there that are also looking at carbon removal, or the net zero or net, no, it's not net, is it? So negative emissions technologies, net, N-E-T, negative emissions technologies, both natural and technological solutions in that space, because we do feel that there's significant market and investor interest in that area. But most of all, we're looking for impact ventures that are going to be active in terms of trying to put something good in the world, to heal, to restore, to correct where some businesses have been going wrong in the past. So we're looking for disruptors and people with great ideas. So this is the scope of what the programme will look like going through. We will start January the 10th is the start date, if you wanted to scribble the 10th and the 11th down in your diaries right now. We start with a climate bootcamp. Now, this is an opportunity for us to all get together in person. We'll be together for 2 whole days. So for some, that might involve travel and potentially even accommodation, something to consider. But I think it's really important for us to all meet each other and understand where we're all coming from, get to know the different people in the cohort. We do know from experience that the value taken from these programs is a large part of what we deliver in terms of content, but there's a significant element of you actually making friends and hanging out with other founders that are going through the same journey as you, so that you can share and benchmark your experiences. So we're really keen to take advantage of the fact that some of the restrictions that have been COVID related lately are lifting, and try and get us all in a room together just at the start to really sort of forge some friendships, have a bit of fun and get to know each other. The first month will then continue to be focused on business strategy, and we will have expected you to have done some of the very basic planning and use some of the tools such as a business model canvas or have a business plan already. Maybe you've done one a few years ago now. But this is an opportunity for us to get to know your business and to really test some of the assumptions that you've built into that planning stage. So we'd want you to dust those off, and we'd take you through an advanced kind of workshop setting where we're looking at everything from your value proposition, your business strategy going forward, lean processes, and where you've got to in terms of your traction. We'll then move on to look at some of the numbers, looking at financial statements, some of the metrics that you're going to be monitoring, and some of your projections and investment strategies. From there, we will make sure that we're really bedding into your businesses a clear understanding of what impact it is that you're trying to achieve. So we'll be looking at some of the management of the impact metrics, so measuring things, but then also managing them ongoing. and talking a lot about how we can clarify some of that messages for the marketing and to put out there to your stakeholders, to make sure that you're really demonstrating what it is that you're intending to do. Now, halfway through this program, we've also chosen to insert a bit of a qualifier, a sort of a halfway point. And at this stage, we would expect to have a really good understanding of you and your business and where you're focusing your time. So there is a chance here in the middle of the program that we come back and talk to you and say, look, you really still need to focus on some of your fundamentals, the foundations of your business. And we would want to work with you much more in depth to actually ensure that you're building those foundations of your business well and that everything is really done to a good level and a good quality before we move on. So at that point, it may be necessary for some ventures to drop out of the program. We would continue to support them in that way, and we would encourage them and hope, of course, that they would be then ready to join the next cohort of this Climate Accelerator in a year's time, to really continue through that journey. But we would hope for the majority of ventures involved that they would be keeping up with us, putting a lot of these plans and theories in action, and very much, ready to continue through. So at that point, we would continue to work then focusing on marketing, key elements of storytelling. We focus a fair bit on that to really get across the messages that you're having around your positive impact story. And we would then start focusing as well on you as founders, what it's like to become a leader of a scaling organization, where the stresses and the strains are going to come from, your own leadership styles and various other scaling challenges that might be coming into play at that stage. And like every accelerator program that you've perhaps seen out there, we will sum it all up in a pitch day, a demo day, which enables you to put all of the things that you've learned into practice. We'll have practiced it plenty of times between us as a group and with each other, and you'll feel confident and to deliver a really good, polished pitch to what we hope will actually be quite a nice big event. You'll be talking to your peers and your mentors and others that are coming on board on this process, but we will have investors in the room and actually potentially broadcasting this out internationally to that investor network that the EIT Climate Kick network bring on board and that's in that ecosystem. So there may be a really big, quite exciting audience that you need to have focused in your mind to get to that stage. A couple more slides on this, and then I want to open it up to conversations. So I'd always describe our programs as in layers. There's three main layers. There are the workshops that we've just talked about that enable you to put some of the skills into practice, some of those theoretical models, but also have those conversations with us about how you're going to actually develop the business. And to support that, we'll have one-to-one coaching sessions with us as the team, where we check in with you about once a month for an hour. And we either enable you to just talk about what's on your mind. If you're particularly stressed or worried about a particular area, we can give that some airtime. But we also have a process to go through, which is quite a structured review that enables us to make sure we check in about every element of your business, make sure nothing's dropping off the other end of the table that you haven't given due care and consideration to, and to try and get a sense check from you as to how you feel about how things are moving forward. That process enables us to stay on top of where you need to be making progress and where your focus is. And on that basis, we're then able to align you and introduce you to some of our mentors. We would hope that you would have certainly one mentor that would be looking after you throughout the whole 6 months of the process. They would be selected from a pool. We have around 70 really impressive individuals who are all experts in their fields, domain experts, who know what they're doing and have perhaps been there and done that. And they work with us completely voluntarily because they love what we do and they love getting involved with people like you. And they would check in with you about once a month as well. And you would have a conversation with them about various issues that might be on your mind. So the application process is fairly straightforward. We have a type form on our website that we ask you to complete within the deadline of the 28th of November. In that application, it really just asks for some fairly basic information about you and your business. This is so we can get to know you a bit more. We do ask you to attach a business plan or a pitch deck, whatever state it might be, so that we have access to that. And we ask for a video. This is about really just enabling the judging panel to see you and hear you talk passionately about your business. So it's absolutely fine to face your phone directly to you and talk just for a couple of minutes. We've given you a few questions to answer on that, but you may just want to talk briefly about what you're doing, and then submit that to us as a file. We do find those really, really useful. And when there are other people, even if I've met you and chatted to you, if there are others that haven't, it really brings some sort of flavour of your personality to the process, which is important. And an important thing to mention, as I suggested earlier, this programme is completely free. We do not charge any money for it, and we do not take any equity. The grant that we have that supports our work in this space asks for a little bit of data to be submitted after each of our programmes, which is really about how many jobs you ultimately end up creating and how many products and services you launch to the market. So it's not hard to tell us about these things. We're hoping you'd be very proud and excited about announcing that to us. But we do ask for that data submission to be presented to us both within the programme and for a year after the programme as well, to ensure that we are, keeping up with your success. We're also able to promote that and share it among our networks, which is usually really important for you too. These are some of the alumni that we've had on board. I selected some of the environmentally focused ones to give you an idea. Some of these may be familiar. Over the years, we've watched a number of these companies really scale and grow. I mean, Origami Energy, for example, is regularly in the news. So we're very proud that they started with us many years ago. And others are doing really important things in the world of the circular economy, in energy and energy efficiency, in sort of fleet operations like electric cars and things. So we watch everybody's progress with interest. So enough of me. I'm going to hand over both to Andrew and to Canon to talk to you a little bit about their experience on the programme.
Thanks, Emma. If we could also stop the sharing of the screen, that way we could put Canon up there on the big video so that everybody can see him as well.
Hi, Andrew. Hi, Emma.
Excellent.
Everyone.
Thank you so much for being here, Canon. And I'm excited about this conversation, honestly, simply because I think it's probably the most helpful component of our work, and it gives a real lens to, I guess, really what happens on the program. And so we're very happy to have Canon here today to share his experience on our most recent cohort out of Cambridge. And so, Canon, actually, I would love for you to share a little bit about your background and what you're working on today. And
Sure.
then we'll just kind of go from there.
Yeah, okay. So I'm someone who's had a successful corporate career. I decided to intervene in the problem of childcare. I've seen that firsthand from corporates losing talent, and I believe that corporates need to do more in affordable childcare. So that's what Yellow Nest is. It's a company I believed should have been in existence, so I've gone out and created it. Affordable childcare will lead to better outcomes for businesses, for families. If you want to see more women in the workplace, this is one reason for it. So that's primarily what Yellow Nest is. My experience has been, I needed confidence building, is the truth of it. I was good in corporate life, but it's a different ball game running your own show and trying to build something from scratch. It's arguably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I'm pleased to say we were accepted onto the Alio program, and we've been supported. And now we're starting to show the green shoots of the support that we've received. So that's the journey so far.
Excellent. Very nice. And thank you for the kind of words on that. And I think part of the process is often it's a very personal experience, right? For each founder, no experience on the program is going to be uniquely the same. I mean, I guess identically the same to another. What part of the program, I guess, did you find the most helpful for you personally? And what are some kind of tips and tricks you would probably give to people who are interested in the program?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to answer that question in reverse, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think Emma said earlier in her overview, the program's free, which I haven't experienced it. Usually, when you get something that's free, so you don't associate value with it, and you think, is it any good? question mark. And the reality is you should be charging for it. It's because it's immense, the value you provide. And if anyone is successful onto the program, what you're getting is essentially you're getting all the help, the support, and you're proving traction as well, because spaces are finite, and it's showing that actually a respected entity like Alio sees some value in what you're doing. So that's one thing. So the first part of your question, for us personally, that's been certainly in the network. The conversations that we've had offline, Andrew, Emma, yeah, I've had the same issue with the lighting, has been really helpful in terms of shaping our future. When we've had, oh my God, like a phone a friend moment when you need to, like, how do we think about solving X problem? We've had those kind of dialogues. Those have been immensely valuable. There have been times when I've wanted to give up, I won't lie. That's been kind of so the mentoring aspect has really been one thing, but also the genuine wanting to be on your side and support. Because if you go it on your own, you are literally going on your own. You don't have, who do you ask for support? You don't get that in general in the grand scheme of things. Definitely the structured learning is helpful. So all the programs that you run, the workshops, they're going to vary in their application and validity for different projects and where you are, but it's a well thought through program. Definitely, I've done an MBA and it compares to my MBA, but a lot easier, I think.
Yeah, no, I want to draw out on one of those points that you had mentioned there, that I think when people think about a program, right, there are definitely going to be components of it that you've already done before, right? Like, there is no question about it. Each person's experience, you will have informed or built out a set of knowledge that when you come to these workshops, you might be like, I already know this. Why are we doing it? Well, because the reality of it is this provides that framework for you to make sure that you're checking the boxes that you need, so that when you go for funding or when you go to that next stage, you've already said, yeah, you can speak to that point and say, yeah, I've done that in this framework and I've done this here before, and this is how we've thought through it. And often it's not so much about what you know, but explaining to others how you got to that point or how you got to that decision-making kind of framework that allows investors or people who are engaged or just stakeholders in general to know what they can do to support you, because they're about understanding the journey. Great results obviously speak for themselves, but in order to be a successful business long-term, you need to see that experience. And I want to also comment on that other part where you said, that the journey is very lonely. I cannot agree more. That I feel like just having someone to bounce ideas off of makes my life a lot easier, even though I'm not even on the startup side anymore. I'm on the ecosystem side. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Anything that you think that they should know when they're thinking about, I guess, any concerns, any kind of time management or anything like that you want to share with them before we kind of package it up and turn it over to them for questions?
Sure, I'm kind of vouching for you guys, so I can do that without any kind of hesitation. Ultimately, the team at Alio, they got your back. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. You might have other things, that side hustles that have to pay for the bills, and you're doing this alongside, and that's fine. We all have to do some things at various times. This is a general professional outfit that know what they're doing, well connected, and on our journey, they've definitely been helpful. So really grateful for the opportunity to kind of interact with them. You're going to learn a lot. And as Andrew said, there'll be things that you've done before, but if you view it as the opportunity to sandbox, play, and kind of go to first principles, you'll be surprised that sometimes you're going to still find value in doing some of the models that you may have done before. And that's what we found. And like I say, a great team, genuine people, nice people that you wanted. Like, I know that I'm going to be friends for life with some of the people I've met with on this journey, and that they're in, we're all helping each other, which is a great community to be part of.
And it continues to grow. So thankfully, as we move forward, it's not just a 1-point touch, right? It's like your cohort and then the next cohort, and they come together at other events. And so we actually have a demo day coming up next week. where people will be coming from all different cohorts to come together to just watch other people pitch, but at the same time network with those that are being involved in this process. So it's a nonstop adventure where we don't actually end with the cohort, and it's something that continues on. So thank you so much, Kenan, for coming in and sharing your thoughts on this. I'm going to turn it over to Emma to go from there. And yeah, let me remove the spotlight from myself.
Thanks, guys. That's great. Yeah, and Angie, stay on hand for any questions. But there's just a couple of things that I haven't mentioned that I'm sure must be on your minds, and so I'll just get these out before we open it up. Some of the program is in person. I mentioned the boot camp in the beginning. We'll try and do an event where we all just get together again in the middle, and we'll certainly be together in person at the end. But also the online format has worked really well for us and has put, you know, things together that enable people to come over sort of subject matters and things that they wouldn't normally have time for, and enable them to actually, you know, join sessions in the middle of their working day, for example. So it's going to be very much a hybrid model going forwards, online workshops with expert speakers or ourselves talking to you. The one-to-ones are done typically online, very happy to meet for a coffee and a piece of cake, of course, but typically online. Mentors, again, online, they're based all over the country, all over the world in some parts. So that's an international element to some extent. But we are going to make sure that we do get together.
Sorry about that. Quick comment. So on the mentorship side, if you do decide that you want to engage with your mentor in person, and for whatever reason, maybe you are geographically close, of course, we do not tell you how to live your life. If you want to engage with them personally, we encourage that.
Cool. Yeah, so we're quite flexible, really. It's nice to see you in person, but also it's really nice to just be easy and do things online so that it fits within your day. Some people do ask us regularly if we provide investment. No, we don't. We do not provide any investment directly. We do qualify you to be able to go through to make the introductions to investors that we have in our network. So that's very much the goal of this program here, is to get you polished and get you up and ready and good to go, and then be able to promote you wide and far into our investment network, both locally, nationally, and of course with the EIT Climate Kick, it will be internationally as well. So that's the name of the game. What commitments are you expecting of me? You might be thinking, well, roughly those workshops work out to be about a session a week. They're about 2 hours long, normally about an hour of content, half an hour of Q&A. But we often make them 2 hours on the basis that conversations just go on and people don't want to leave. So we're happy for those to extend through to a sort of a 2 hour slot. So if you can imagine 2 hours once a week on a workshop or a session, and then an additional hour a month for your conversations with your mentors, plus any, of course, follow-up or agenda setting in advance of those, and the same for your meeting with us. That should give you a rough idea of how many hours are expected. We fully intend that you are all working hard on your business, and sometimes on other side hustles or jobs that pay the mortgage. So these are very flexible, and you know, if there are some that you can't attend, we work around you to make those individual appointments, or if it's a workshop that's happening without you, they all are all recorded so you can catch up again by the end. I think that's absolutely everything from me. So I would love to hand over to you, and actually something I would love to do, we appear to have time, is actually do a go around the room and ask you all to just introduce the business that you're working on in just a single sentence, a one-liner. What is it that you're doing? You might find that really interesting to see who else is in the room and who potentially could be coming through on the cohorts. So if that sounds okay, I will start by please volunteering Tim Hill. Can you give us a one-liner of what your business is?
Unmute. I'm with Digital Daylight, so we're a revolutionary retrofit window surface treatment that's being deployed as a secret weapon against climate change.
Fabulous, thank you. Abigail Park. Are you there?
If you're not able to answer at this time, it's all right. We can just have it in the chat. No pressure there. Would love to hear your voice, of course, but we'll come back around at the end, of course.
Lovely. Lisa Kent. Lisa, are you there? Oh, Abigail's just turned up.
Oh, and she's put a note in the chat saying, Lisa's put a note in the chat there, saying that Reuse is a return and reuse logistics system for food and drink takeaway. Thanks for sharing that, Lisa. We're very happy that you're able to be here for that. Let's see.
Great. Zoe, are you there? I just saw you flick up.
Hi, yes. Hi, I'm Zoe. Our business is an online sustainable wholesale marketplace. So the idea is by making it easier for small shops and businesses to buy from independent, eco-friendly British brands. We promote eco-friendly products, champion local SMEs, but also reduce transport emissions because things are sourced quickly.
Wonderful. Thank you, Zoe. And Abigail, I see you're there with us now. Can you give us a quick one-liner on what you're doing?
So I'm working on an app called Ponder, which helps people buy less. So, yeah.
Right.
So it's all about reducing consumption rather than buying alternative green products. It's actually like, how do we actually buy less? So
lovely. Thank you. That's great. I'll ask Daniel and then I'll come to Paul if he's connected. Daniel.
Yeah, hello. Actually, I just wrote down the message, like we are not still a funded startup. We are working on it, but we are based on Germany and we are working on the business plan currently, something related to carbon removal, storage and utilization. So
well, we definitely need lots of that. Now, on the basis that you're based in Germany, you may not be able to come over and join us in Cambridge, but I'd be very happy to try and connect you to my partners and others that are running United Climate Accelerators there to see if that might be a program that you would be interested in joining. So let's do that. No
so for our case, we need to fundamentally be a founded startup, and then rather to look for the local ecosystem of we are working on.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a chat about that offline.
Emma, real quick, I think your audio has gone.
Oh, has it?
Wire. So we can hear you, but it's giving you the robot voice. So you may need to unmute, and I'll answer any questions from here until that one's sorted.
There's Paul to go if he's there.
Cool. Paul, if you are able to share a little bit about your venture, we'd love to hear from you, bud. You can also put it in chat, not a problem. And Daniel, we can answer some of your questions offline on an email, okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Who I can write or to...
We'll put it in the chat and we'll send it available for everybody to see.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we keep in touch.
Excellent. Okay. Well, if anyone else has any questions, we'd be happy to answer them now. So feel free to verbalize. We're here to support you, quite honestly. There's a lot that can be discussed about the programs. And so we know there are probably some questions that exist. And if not, I can answer a couple of frequently asked questions. So to kick it off then, one of the questions that we usually get is, what does, I guess, the process look like in terms of decision making? So we typically have a process where we receive your application, we'll review it as a team, then we go to an interview stage if we've not yet had a conversation with you in order to ensure that we know a little bit about you and some of the work that you're doing. A big component of this program is making sure that we understand how we can add value to your life. Because quite honestly, there's no point in me saying you should be on the program if we don't have a clear kind of objective to how we're going to support you on this experience. So we are very purposeful about this. We don't like to say that we're selective about this process, but we are purposeful about who we bring into the program so that we know that we can add value to your growth as you move forward into funding. Now, some folks may be curious about, I guess, kind of what happens post-program. Typically at the demo day, some folks actually go for fundraising and they want to go forward with that. Other folks, while they're on the program, identify that fundraising is not actually the strategy that I want to pursue. Some people are more interested in the bootstrap route, and others prefer going down grants and various other funding models. So we're very open to defining success in what suits your needs. We don't pressure you to say you have to go get a fund, amount of money raised from a fund to be a winner, right? Ultimately, we know that the business model is different for each person. So we'll support you in whatever endeavor that is. And if at the end you don't want to necessarily pitch for money from investors, that's okay. We're here to make sure that you're able to kind of accelerate your impact, because ultimately we want to see the world not burn into fiery flames, quite honestly. So, you know, if we can support you in a creative alternative fashion, we will do so. Awesome. Cool. Well, honestly, you know, we're here and available to you all at your own schedule. So if you have questions, reach out to Emma, reach out to us online, LinkedIn, what have you. If you'd like to be connected to a different founder who has been on one of our programs before, we'd be happy to let you know, introduce you to someone who can share their experience. And that way, you know, you can feel comfortable understanding like what it is that you want to do with this experience. And we'll just move from there. So if there are no other questions, we'll give you back some time to your day. And Emma, any closing comments if you're no longer a robot?
Not at all. Just to remind you that the applications do close on the 28th of November. That's a Sunday night. We know that we always have so many applications in, like minutes before the deadline. Don't leave it that long if you know that you want to apply. It gives us an opportunity for us to reach out and have a call or a chat with you, which just streamlines the process at the other end. So yeah, I look forward to hearing from you all. Any other questions, ping them over. And yeah, maybe, hopefully, we'll all be working together from January.
Thanks all. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.